At 18, I walked into 3 brothels to interview for the best place to work. I chose one and I did my first shift less than 2 weeks later. In Melbourne, Australia, where this happened 12 years ago, that was and still is completely legal. Obvious controversy aside about the job itself, what people always seem shocked by is my age, which got me thinking, was 18 too young? At 18 in my country, you can join the military, vote on the shaping of society, take on student debt, and work in dangerous industries. But somehow, work hits people differently. So is the issue really age? People sometimes assume that because I started so young, I must have been coerced, naive, or incapable of making a healthy decision, and they're entitled to those opinions. But given I was the only one there making those decisions, my opinion is the only fully informed one about my actions. I think the fact this conversation always focuses on whether an 18-year-old female should be allowed to enter a brothel is very telling about our society. The real question isn't just whether I was too young or whether any 18-year-old should be allowed to do work. The bigger issue is when young adults should be considered fully autonomous. At 18, in many places, you're legally an adult. You can make decisions about your future, your finances, your body, and your life, but society still treats certain adult choices like sex work as something you shouldn't be able to engage in at that age. Why? Maybe it's because sex work challenges our traditional ideas about power, gender, and autonomy. Let's face it, male sex workers still encounter plenty of stigma, but it is different to what women face. Society often views sex work as inherently problematic or damaging, so the thought of someone young of any gender choosing it becomes unsettling. But we don't apply the same skepticism to other adult choices like working in construction, can be dangerous, or the military, which are equally risky. Others might argue that 18 is too young to make such a big decision, especially about something so intimate. But then, at what age is someone ready to take full responsibility for themselves? Should it be 21? 25? What is the magic number? And then who gets to decide? At 18, you're already legally allowed to do a lot of things that can have long-lasting consequences, many of which can be just as dangerous or even more. Here's the thing. I don't think the problem is my age. The problem is that we treat work is different from every other form of adult labor, and in doing so, we deny people, especially women, the agency to make their own choices about their bodies and their lives. Maybe 18 was too young, maybe it wasn't, but when we focus on age, we miss the bigger issue. Why does society treat work differently? Why does it get judged more harshly than any other legal adult choice? At the end of the day, we need to have a broader conversation about autonomy, choice, and why certain professions are seen as more acceptable than others.